BASF at K22. Welcome to our plastics journey and welcome to our next creator talk here in Hall 5. And I thought this would be a simple topic, yeah, because it's about this. Then actually my topic description reads, certified compostable dual ovenable paper tray for packaging of ready-to-eat meals. Alison, Buxton, CEO of Confoil, and Afsaneh Nabifar from BASF. Thanks for being here. Alison, how can something so simple be so complicated?
Well, I guess the problem is that this has got to carry food and it's got to carry it effectively. So for us, we've had a product like this in the marketplace for over 20 years. Mm-hmm. But the reality is it had a PET lining. Mm-hmm. And as consumers become more conscious of sustainability, we needed to find a solution. Okay. So we worked on the solution for 5 years before we got to this. Should have been simple, right? It was only when we met with BASF that we found a solution that allowed us to continue to make the tray without cracking and keeping the food safe. Okay, so
Afsaneh, what's the secret? What took you 5 years in order to improve this?
You know, Richard, when we talk about biopolymers and compostable products, so on one side, of course, they have to stick to the technical requirements of the package, but also at the end of life, so they need to be compostable, certified to all the standards around the world. So this is let's say a 2-3 dimensional topic that then you try to make it technically more rigid, then it's not compostable anymore. Okay. So you take a look at, for example, just 100% plastic, then it's too thick, you cannot compost it, composters don't accept it, so you need to do all this several dimensional optimization, and that takes time. Yeah.
And getting it right for the consumer who's looking for a product that they can be comfortable using was the critical step. Yeah. So we wanted to be able to support. Australia has a 2025 national plastics goal, which is really to help limit the amount of plastics going into landfill. So this work was designed to help that and help our customers be able to provide a solution to their consumers that met that requirement.
And for the end consumer, Alison, convenience is certainly the most driving factor, yeah? It's zero headache, I just want to use it and then throw it away.
Yeah, but throw it away in a way that's actually not going to destroy the environment. Yeah. And that's the key part. So if we look at a consumer's requirements for a ready meal, we know it's a growing market. And it's growing because, as you say, convenience is really important. Yeah. But there are a couple of other factors. Consumers want to be able to manage portion size. Okay. Firstly, for health. But also they want to be able to manage portion size so they're not wasting food. Okay. So if they're cooking themselves, they have food waste that ultimately has to be destroyed somewhere. Ready meals gives them portion control, lack of waste, and so then they say, okay, I've got all of that, how do I now manage the packaging so it's not going to destroy the environment? And so for us, the Australian consumer was looking for something that was compostable. Yeah. And that's where we came to this development.
Yeah. Afsaneh, compostability and organics recycling. These were topics that were mentioned already. Tell us something more about that. And then, as we're speaking about our plastics journey and about the bigger contribution of all of this towards sustainability, also tell us a little bit about how that actually helps to also save CO2 emissions, for example.
Yeah, so basically, Richard, most of the times when we are talking about circular economy, we are mainly referring in the plastic world to the technical loop, but actually circular economy has 2 loops. So on one side, you have the technical loop talking about mechanical, chemical recycling of conventional plastics. But on the parallel loop, you have the nutrient loop. And the nutrient loop and organics recycling also is an important factor actually for safety of the planet as well, because basically you're keeping all the nutrients in the loop, and this is relevant for the food waste, and that's why this becomes relevant for such a packaging, because, you know, a lot of times you have some leftover food residual, or the package is food soil. And such a packaging, as at the moment in Australia and New Zealand, which was the target market, is mainly ending up in landfill.
In landfill, okay.
So basically, by developing this alternative, we have basically derailed this food packaging, which is food soil, away from landfilling into organics recycling. So we are reducing the emissions that are coming from the landfilling, but also at the same time, we are basically creating a compost, which is kind of like a soil enhancer, like a soil type of a soil fertilizer and improver. So we are basically covering both angles, so sustainability and also the reduction of the greenhouse gas emissions, but also helping the soil health.
Yeah.
And it was really important for us that when we sold this to our customers and they ultimately sell it to their consumers, that they understood that it could go into an organics recycling system. So for us, getting a sustainable certification was key. So we could have bought a product from Europe that had a European certification, but we're really concerned about greenwashing and the perception of greenwashing.
Yeah.
And Australians can be very sceptical.
Okay.
So it was really important for us to get the best standard in the world, and that happens to be the Australian composting standard. So by meeting that standard, we could be confident that this could go into the organic stream in Australia.
Yeah, so that could actually work everywhere. If you make it in Australia,
absolutely,
you make it everywhere. Allow me to stay with Afsaneh just for a second, because of course this also has an ecovio branding on it.
Yes.
And we didn't even manage to talk about where's the product, where is ecovio in this packaging? Is it coated? Is it inside? Where is it? And what's special about it?
So the ecovio that is used in this package is in the inner lining, so it's kind of like a
coating on the board.
Yeah.
So that's a fiber-based basically solution, and then you coat it?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's a special type of paper grade ecovio, which is a monolayer inside. So it's applied through an extrusion coating process. And basically this type of ecovio is very good for migration barrier. So meaning that you can even use a recycled paper board and still use the ecovio coating on top, and still this would be food safe.
So that's even another dimension of sustainability.
Yes, yes, and of course also this type specific ecovio grade has very high renewable content. So more than 70% of renewable content inside. So that's also another dimension to reduce the product carbon footprint.
So was this talking about the cooperation? I mentioned it, or you mentioned it, 5 years.
No, the cooperation with BASF was only 2.
Okay.
So we'd been trying to find a solution until we started working with BASF.
Okay, so then let's focus on the 2 years.
Yeah.
Actually, did you have to tweak the product, adapt it to that specific requirement of this packaging? How can I imagine the cooperation to work?
The cooperation really came from BASF understanding what our need was, working with them to be able to do some trials and test, but also then go through the certification processes that we needed to go through. So the organic certification process, we knew that ecovio was already certified, but as I said, we wanted to get the Australian compostable certification. As it turned out, that took 9 months.
Okay.
So, that extended the time that we could go to market. But we also needed to test for ovenability. Key to our DualPak tray for the 20 years that it's been in market is that it can be microwave safe, but also in the oven for 40 minutes at 180 degrees. So we really needed to confirm that would still be the case with this new coating.
Okay.
Because otherwise our customers couldn't use it as they've been using it before.
Yeah. So I imagine a lot of testing also going into this when you say that it has this, basically all those functionalities. Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. And the other part of that is the sealability. So we talk about the fact that the coating is in the the tray, but we needed to be able to seal the product on the rim. So the advantage that we have with ecovio is that it seals to a number of different substrates.
Okay.
So whoever our customer is using to provide the film, if you like, that's going on, or the paperboard tray, or the paperboard lid, it can be sealed with the ecovio coating.
I'd like to learn a little more about the market development of those products, of those types of packaging. You said that Australia is pretty much advanced when it comes to that. How about other countries?
Oh, look, I think around the world it's quite different, and it depends on the government regulations to one extent, but it also depends on the level of recycling and how various countries have chosen to go down that end-of-life path.
Yeah,
and in Australia, we haven't been good at actually recycling well.
Okay.
So composting is an ideal solution. The New Zealand market is similar, but not quite the same.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see how that plays out. In the US, they're moving slowly but quickly towards compostability. And then in Europe, it's much more around recyclability.
Okay.
So the advantage of this tray is that we can do both.
Yeah.
The big issue is the food residue. And so the ease of compostability is you don't have to worry about that. For recycling, you have to clean it out.
Yeah. Afsaneh, how much, I mean, you're working in market development, so you have to develop markets. How is this market developing for BASF?
Slowly but steady. And I have to say, in the case of Australia, we were basically in a very good situation because of this national plastic plan for 2025. The government already had the understanding that they need to decrease the impact of packaging to the environment. And also the government has a good understanding of composting and organics recycling. So the organics recycling is a big industry in Australia. And the use of compost as a soil improver is quite well understood. So beside that, also the new FOGO, which is food organics, green organics. So basically this is a separate collection of organic waste is being practiced in some parts or states of Australia. So these are the different elements you basically need for the product development. So you need to have the infrastructure for composting, the legislation and understanding from the politicians and from the government, but also the acceptance of the composters, which was a very big
thing.
factor in this program.
Yeah, so we have a national waste plan as well as the 2025 plastics plan. And so as part of that, all of the states and territories in Australia, because we don't operate as a single country, states have different legislation, our councils have different policies.
Sounds familiar.
But they have all agreed that by the end of 2023, the FOGO system, which basically means people can put their food waste into the green waste from their garden to go off to be composted. By the end of 2023,
that's tomorrow.
That will be that will be available to every household and every business throughout Australia.
Okay.
So once that is there, then perfect solution.
That's interesting because, I mean, there also you can clearly see where the requirement and the need and the push from the end consumer also ties in with the regulation and with the actual product availability. How much need do you see from the end consumer, from me as a purchaser of a ready-to-eat meal?
Yes. Well, I think the end consumer, as we said, it's a growing marketplace, so there's going to be more of these types of packets consumed. They're keen to have a solution that is one fits all. So the FOGO system, you put it in your little green bin, you put that into your garden waste bin, collect it at the curbside, don't need to worry about it. And I'm confident if it's available everywhere, then I can do it wherever I need to. Yeah. So that's really key.
I can tell you I want it, but I want it full.
Yes.
And I want it now. Alison and Afsaneh, thanks a lot for this interesting insight into this product and the whole ecosystem actually behind it. Lovely to talk to you. I hope you stick around for some more minutes to answer potential questions, and have a great day at K.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
BASF. We create chemistry.